Captain Sam Thomas, former pilot, is also with us. Captain, your thoughts? Any thoughts on what you think could have gone wrong?
Good evening. I don't really want to hazard a guess as to what has actually happened. And while our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, what I'd like to say that with the limited evidence that we have, and we are seeing through the visuals that the aircraft has lost power on, or rather is not generating lift enough, and that can only happen when both engines are not developing power. And the reason for that can only be found out once we have the DFDR data. And until then, it's in the realms of speculation. And we understand that people are interested in knowing exactly what has happened. To that extent, we can only say that the weather seems absolutely clear. And the reason for losing power on both engines is extremely rare. If you recollect, there was an incident on the Hudson.
Yes.
Where an A320 lost both its engines to bird hit. And a lot of people are drawing that comparisons. This airplane, the 787, is a much bigger airplane. And a few birds will not be able to cause problems to a single engine or leave alone both engine catastrophic failure. Okay. So at the moment, we have very, very sketchy details. And the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board would be in a much better position to bring out these details. And at the moment, the incoming details that we have is that both the engines did not develop sufficient power.
Yes. I'm going to come to you on that issue of how both engines can go out, because that's extremely rare. That doesn't really happen. And that is really raising alarm here. But we also have a video that has been shot by one of the passengers. I'm told a British passenger who was on board before the crash. Let's just play that out.
We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Goodbye.
Thank
10-hour flight back to England.
What's your biggest takeaway, Jamie?
We've done this already.
On a different thing.
Oh, right. What's my biggest takeaway? I don't know.
Yeah, fascinating. Great. Thanks for your contribution. Okay. Yeah, my biggest takeaway is don't lose your patience with your partner.
Yeah. You're already starting to. You've already snapped at me while we're having chai at the airport. You can see you've learnt nothing.
Going back happily calm. We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Goodbye.
Thank
10-hour flight back to England.
What's your biggest takeaway, Jamie?
We've done this already.
On a different thing.
Oh, right. What's my biggest takeaway? I don't know.
Yeah, fascinating. Great. Thanks for your contribution. Okay. Yeah, my biggest takeaway is don't lose your patience with your partner.
Yeah. You're already starting to. You've already snapped at me while we're having chai at the airport. You can see you've learnt nothing.
Going back happily calm. We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Well, that seems to be a video made by two passengers, British passengers, young men who were going back to England. They were happy about it, and just kind of points out the fickleness of life. Nobody could have really seen this coming. Captain Sam Thomas, former pilot, and Mr. Sivaraman, who's formerly with the DGCA, both on the show with us. I do thank you for your time. Captain Sam Thomas, I just want to take your thoughts once again, because our viewers would be curious to know, how can both engines go out? That seems to be the case here, given how quickly the flight crashed and the fact that the pilots didn't seem to be in any control. They didn't seem to have any communication left with the ATC. What can really cause this?
A variety of reasons can cause it, but in this particular case, what has happened, we would not know until we have the details. Now, you asked of both engine failures. It has happened just short of London Heathrow once with a 777, and that was due to fuel starvation. Now, if both the engines do not get adequate fuel, it could result in both the engines flaming out. Now, but that is a very rare scenario. And in this particular case, we don't know how both the engines have failed, or indeed, we are speculating this from the visuals that we have. So it's evident to a certain extent that there is a loss of thrust on both engines, but we would not be absolutely sure on that till such time that the DFDR shows us the results.
I want to ask Mr. Sivaraman also, how long do you think an investigation into a crash like this will take? All right, I think I've lost Mr. Sivaraman. Captain Sam Thomas, do you want to just take this question? How long do you think an investigation of a crash of this nature may take? How quickly can we get to the bottom of what happened?
The DGCA would allocate this investigation to the Air Accident Investigation Board, AAIB, and they would put out a preliminary report in about 30 days. And thereafter, based on whatever information they are able to gather from the engine manufacturer, from the OEM, that's Boeing, and may take assistance of other investigative agencies, because not very many qualified investigators are there in India, and it should take about a year. That's my experience with air accident investigation, and it generally takes about a year at least.
Currently, of course, rescue operations are the chief priority, and all of the ministries concerned, including the Home Ministry and the Civil Aviation Ministry, are concerned only with that. Those are hospital visuals also coming in. There seem to be some who are injured, but we are unsure whether they are passengers who have been brought in an injured situation, or these are people who were in the buildings surrounding where the crash took place. Because the unfortunate part is, Captain Thomas, is that this flight actually crashed into buildings. And unfortunately, we're getting updates that the buildings that it crashed into had MBBS doctors, resident doctors, etc., staying in that hostel.
Very tragic, very tragic. It does happen that when an airplane crashes and in a thickly populated area, there would be collateral damage on ground as well. It's very unfortunate, and unfortunately, that is the nature of the beast, and very little we can do about it, except extend, the hospital services to the injured and minimize whatever damage that has already occurred by providing proper medical assistance timely.
The area around the airport perimeter was, as the visuals themselves show, densely populated. Clearly, there were some facilities there as well for MBBS doctors, hostels, and multiple buildings of that nature with messes, etc., and several buildings housing medical students. Do you think there could be a need to expand the non-residential or commercial areas around airports?
That may not be viable at the moment. If you look at the Mumbai airport, which is the current airport, not the Navi Mumbai, the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport, it is very densely packed up to the compound wall on both sides of the runway. Up to it touches the compound wall. So Ahmedabad is much better compared to what Mumbai is, and it may not be commercially viable to clear out vast areas near the airport, because it's not unusual when old Hong Kong was there. That also was, and I've flown to many international countries which have buildings very close to the airport.
How rare is it for a flight to crash so soon after takeoff?
See, a crash as such can happen at any phase of the flight. Though the takeoff and landing are some of the phases that most commonly it happens, but there is no set rule that it could happen only at this phase of flight. It could happen at any phase of the flight, and takeoff and landings are more critical than, say, a climb or a cruise.
Yes. In this situation, Captain Thomas, it seems like the pilots didn't have any time at all. This could have transpired within a minute of takeoff.
Yes, because the altitude reported and what we have right now is 741 feet or 800 feet, which is pretty quick. They have also given a mayday call, and actually, there is very little time to do if you've lost both engines. There is very little you can do, and the more you try to deviate from the path, the faster you're going to stall. So what they have done from the visuals seems to be the only choice that they had and the only natural way to do it.